Radio, coming to you live from downtown, beautiful downtown Norfolk. I will now turn the microphone over to the announcer. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. Welcome to Occupy Norfolk Day 16. We're just about to commence General Assembly with the re-going over of the hand signs as we do every time. I have volunteered to facilitate this General Assembly. My name is Rex. Are there any concerns about that?
I am Tim, and I will co-facilitate and work the stack. Is that all right? Thank you.
Mr. Robert Waters has kindly volunteered, by my suggestion, to keep the minutes for this General Assembly. Are there any concerns with that? Thank you. Let's go over the hand gestures. I want to ask Hector to help me go over the hand gestures today as a hand model. Come on up here, please, and direct your gestures to this half of the crowd. And Tim, will you please direct your gestures to that half of the crowd? We'll try to go through this at a nice clip. If you like what's being said, it gives you a warm or fuzzy feeling. You feel good about it. Fingers up. If you have a moderate or zero feeling about what's going on, kind of in the middle there. If you do not like what is being said, you're kind of against it. Fingers down. If you're way against what's being said, so much to the fact that, not that, sir. So much that you might leave the group if the motion passes or it violates you on a moral level, block. Throw up the block. If you would like to add a point of information to what's being said after the speaker's done, one finger just like that. If you cannot hear what's being said, up, 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 up. If the speaker is rambling or going on excessively, repeating himself too much, that's the wrap it up. Move along. .org. If you do not understand what is being talked about right now, that speaker is not doing an effective job of explaining the point they're making, throw up the Mayday. The Mayday is facilitator's choice. If it's one person throwing the Mayday, they may be directed to discuss it after the General Assembly. However, if several people throw up the Mayday, clearly the speaker's doing an effective job, and we'll open it up for 2 minutes of discussion. If we can't resolve it, we'll open it up for a further 2 minutes of discussion, and if we still can't resolve it, we'll have to discuss it after GA and possibly bring it back to the table tomorrow. Did we leave any out? If what is happening violates the process, at least as you understand it, you throw up the triangle, and that's a point of process. Primarily, it's used for people that want to add points of information to things that are not on topic, but anything else, of course, that violates process, throw up the POP, point of process. If there's no concerns about that, we'll move on to our agenda points for the evening. And tonight we'll start off with a hot and contentious subject, which is the Scott Ridgel subject. It's been brought to our attention that Scott Ridgel would like to have an audience with all or some of us. We're really not sure. There has been an email sent out, and the email, or actually it will be sent out this evening, and that email is basically going to say, what do you want? Everyone here is an individual, and they're all allowed to talk to whoever they want to talk to. That does not necessarily mean that they represent the group or not, but until we hear back from him, we won't really understand what he wants or what he wants to talk about. So there will be an email sent out that says, what do you want? Are there any concerns with that at this time? Deb, come on up.
Talking last night, I actually compiled some facts about Scott Ridgel and what he stands for. And I think before we send any emails or compose any kind of contact, just based on the strength of someone that said something in a parking lot, I think we should, either wait to vote or wait till after I present the facts. I'd like to do that if given the opportunity, if people want to hear it.
Do you wish to present those facts for a couple of minutes at this time? Okay. Do you have an estimated amount of time? Do we need to open up for 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Other concerns?
Hi, my name is Anita. And that's really loud.
Just don't point it at me.
Okay, sorry. I just want to say that the email that we're sending is going to Scott Ridgell's aide, who is actually the person that Curtis spoke to when he said that he saw Scott Ridgell. And it's not a, oh hey, we'd really like to meet with you. It's literally, we heard this information, and based on hearing that you might want to meet with us, is that really the story? And then at that point, the idea was that we would bring that to you guys and say, do you want to do this? My concern with going over his voting records is that that's what we could do with everybody, because everybody's got a history. So that's just, I mean, my personal opinion about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the important thing to remember, too, is we're going to work with a lot of institutions and people that we may not be comfortable with. Obviously, many of the media institutions have agendas. There are investigative reporters that have come. We've been approached by numerous political groups. And the important thing to keep in mind is that whatever comes out of it, it should not be an endorsement of Ridgell or his policies. It would merely be an attempt for Occupy Norfolk to work with somebody who may not understand what we're about, but may, even if it is a false pretension, and even if he is obviously ideologically opposed to what we are, and it's a long road before we even decide we may meet with him, but it should be understood, none of it would be considered any endorsement of Ridgell or his policies. Again, merely an attempt to communicate our desires for change, and even though he may, again, only be falsely interested in that, nonetheless, that's just a possibility being considered. Anyway.
How do I make it that?
You gotta face that.
Aha, face this way. All right, I just wanted to bring up two ideas for people to mull over real quick. The first is that we might want to come up with an official spokesperson who would handle all these types of events, that they can always be on the same page as the group as a whole, and they can always be that flashpoint. The second is if we do wind up talking to Scott Ridgell or anyone from his office, we want to leak it to the media. People, by and large, are a herd mentality. If it looks like the politicians are meeting with us, it makes us look that we're powerful. The politicians are coming to us, they want to talk to us, they want to see what's going on. People will hop on that bandwagon. We have to leak that. We have to make that a PR point, and that'll get more people hopefully down here.
I was concerned when I heard this thing last night that, especially when the aide said that Ridgell didn't want to come down here because he didn't want it to appear that we were looking for undue publicity. I think he's looking for undue publicity. I think he's trying to ride our coattails, and I don't like him.
Can I go first? Sorry.
Okay. I don't know about you, but there's been a group of certain people that have met within us that necessarily outside of this I wouldn't associate myself with, maybe, but involved in this, I associate myself with them, and I would definitely tell everybody I know that yes, this person is with me. We are believing the same thing. So I don't see why we can't step outside of our personal beliefs and he just wants to come talk to us.
We should hear Deb, and then we can continue, because it's probably going to be circular until we hear her now.
Okay.
Wait, let Rob get on.
Yeah, Rob and Anita, y'all had.
Are you minimalizing?
He didn't want it to be publicly known, so there'd be a bunch of newspapers and people here and things. Okay. He just wanted to meet with a group of us, a certain group of us.
The big thing we all need to keep in mind with this, I'm almost doing it, Jamie. Huh? Yeah, I know, but I don't want to blast it out. The thing we all need to keep in mind with this is, even though we're here to try to get people to see what's wrong and to make the change, we're trying to get the politicians that are in place to wake up and make those changes before we have to make more aggressive moves. Now, by the people in office coming out and wanting to talk to us, or us wanting them to come hear what our opinions are or what's wrong, that's what we need to happen. Whether it be the guy we don't like, the guy we do like, or the guy we'd like to see in their place, we need to get the people in power to come out and hear our problems and start figuring out how to take care of them. So.
James, and then we gotta hear all these things. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I think, again, we've got to stay away from these type of judgment decisions, too, where we decide based on Ridgell's character or his past political experience how we feel about him. because we are not extending that same type of discrimination to many groups that are working with us. We are simply rejecting them based on the fact that they are a group, and we are not endorsing any groups technically. So again, it's important to understand that what we need to assess is exactly what is going to involve talking to Rigel and what that would mean for the group. Not necessarily an endorsement of his character or his past voting record or anything. Again, what are his motives, and what does it entail for the group? And again, nothing's set in stone. This is all very vague. Just something the group should be aware of.
All right, Jamie, did you have anything to say, Jamie?
Just that if you want to come for our call, I think you need to come here. I think that's clear. This is the episode.
Yeah, he needs to be in that tent, is what I'm saying.
I feel very strongly about this. In this piece of paper, you guys are talking about not prejudging. You're prejudging what's on here because I said I compiled some facts. You're assuming what this really, I want to say, that people don't seem to want to hear, is that there may be a third way. Well, you just said, you said it was a judgment on him. You haven't heard it, so you're judging me.
I wasn't judging you. I was putting that back up to the group.
So what I would really like to say is, look, I'm not the kind of person that wants to be in a work group. That's not my style. I'm not much of a marcher. I got a bad back. But I see something here, and I want to present the history of what Scott Rigel has done to some of the people who stood up to speak truth to power. And I would think we would want to hear that. Jimmy brought it up last night. And so I did some research, and I contacted some people to try to get my story, what really happened from the people that it happened to. And I think if you don't want to hear that, you're prejudging me, that I am judging Rigel. And that's not, it's about maybe a different way that we don't have to say yes or no, black or white.
I said personally, Scott Rigel. Hold on.
It's not about personality, it's about what he did.
I know, I understand that. But I think that most folks are kind of aware of that.
Okay.
It's not what this is about at all.
Well, we should hear the back.
Okay, guys, order please. Order please. Let's take a quick temperature check. We do need to get 9/10 consensus to just open this up for 2 minutes for Deb to present her facts on Scott Rigel. Guys, can we hear that? 2 minutes on Scott Rigel and then move on? Excellent. Okay, Deb?
Those who know me know my self-appointed mission at Occupy Norfolk has been asking people to join with me in occupying their mind, an idea inspired by my friend, artist Brian Helfrich. This expression has been well received both here and in Virginia Beach. Tonight, I'm speaking to you to ask you to occupy our souls. What I see as the heart and soul of our movement has been the identifying and calling out of those who have used the power and influence they derive from the people to silence those who ask difficult questions. I question whether or not Occupy Norfolk, Virginia, home to so many courageous women and men who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our democracy, rushed to an audience with Representative Rigel, a man who claims creating jobs is a top priority, while conservatives like him slash vital programs and public services, which has resulted in suffering for the people. Consider this truth also. Representative Rigel is a man who has used his personal power and influence to silence one of this city's respected elders, Joe Cook, an honorable man who has been speaking truth to power before most of us were born. A man who was invited to an open house only to discover the people's faith had been broken once again when they were given false instruction on the process to submit their questions for consideration. If Mr. Cook's holy anger at this outrage resulted in a breach of traditional etiquette by breaking in front of the line to stand up for the people, we, the artists, misfits, poets, and dreamers, the rebel in all of us should be the first to understand such actions. Let us consider the evidence. Let us hear from Mr. Cook. Read for ourselves the response he received when he filed a formal complaint with the police. Let us research the history of Rigel's actions towards the people first. This is the question of the hour. We are in danger of falling back in our comfortable patterns. We must trust ourselves to take the time necessary to consider our possibilities together. The famous poet Wendell Berry wrote, "There are, it seems, two muses, the muse of inspiration, which gives us inarticulate visions and desires, and the muse of realization, who returns again and again to say, it is yet more difficult than you thought. This is the muse of form. It may be then that it serves us best when it works in obstruction to baffle us and deflect our intended course. It may be that we no longer know what to do. We have time to do our real work. And when we are no longer know which way to go, we have begun our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. If we fail to occupy our... Let me finish, wrap it up. Let us not rush to judgment, but consider the evidence and consider our actions, which may not always respond in an accepted manner or time frame. If we do not occupy our souls as well as our minds, then we are here is in danger of becoming a false protest, reaffirming that our speech has returned to the false dichotomy. Black or white, left or right, yes or no, come or stay. Let us thoughtfully explore new narratives to the questions.
Thank you very much. We have you first.
I just don't think that we should go anywhere to talk to him. He should come here to talk to us.
But you do agree that we should talk to him?
We're not aligning ourselves with that.
Okay, let's just go ahead and clear up the confusion here. And if we still have to discuss it, then we can still discuss it. Everyone individually here is free to talk to whoever they want about whatever they want. That does not mean that they speak for the group. Is that absolutely clear at this time? Thank you. Now, is the concern that an email asking Scott Ridgel what he wants, if it were to go out on behalf of the group, would need to include the phrase that the group requests that you come here and speak? Okay, let's take a temperature check. Do you guys want to keep talking about this subject? Looks like many of you still have points to make on this subject. Can we get everybody's temperature in on this? Come on. That looks like a consensus to me. Okay, Mr. Sack, continue the discussion, please.
Okay, the only reason why I'm back on the mic is because of this. We seem to be missing the original conversation from yesterday, which is the aide for Scott Ridgel spoke to Curtis, who happened to be at the Narrow, and said that Scott Ridgel had gone out to Virginia Beach on the 15th looking for the Occupy Virginia Beach folks and had missed them because they had come here. And because of that, he was really interested in meeting with the Occupy Norfolk people in Norfolk at Occupy Norfolk, which is what Curtis said last night. So there's no question that Scott Ridgel is asking us to go to him. He's asking for us to allow him to come here. And that is as much as we know, because he wants to hear what we have to say is what was said to us. Now let's work from there, please.
No, we need other voices first. We have time.
I'm Trudy. I was just, when you said we're all in agreement to talk to him, that's why I threw my finger up, was because I wasn't aware that we were at that point yet until we found out what he wanted.
I think there are very few people, very few organizations that the occupation movement should not talk to. Come up with a list. I think it'd be very short. I think Occupy Norfolk should talk to anyone who wants to talk to us except for a very select few. And it may be advantageous to do it in private. It may be. And talking to someone doesn't mean a damn thing. If Michelle Bachmann wanted to talk to us, I talked to Michelle Bachmann. I talked to Eric Cantor. I talked to anyone. What do you have to lose?
And that goes for Democrats, take a lot of conservatives. Left side too.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Jacobs. Thanks to you all who are camped out here in support and representation of us that can't. But I think it would be a mistake, and I've been protesting in New York City and Philadelphia when I was a teenager. And if somebody that's famous or a politician wants to come out here and talk to you, invite them out here. Have them come to you. I agree with that. Personally, I don't know much about any of these politicians, so I'm not going to make an issue there. But invite them here. Take advantage of the media that might come along with them, or leak it to the media, or whatever you have to. And because these people are going to give you free time on the radio, TV, and might get other people out here. I mean, myself, it's great to see you all out here, but where's the other 240,000 people from the city of Norfolk? Where's the 500,000 from Chesapeake and Virginia Beach? Where's the rest of you? Because we are out here representing yous. And invite anybody out here and talk to them.
What's going on? My name is Frank. Real quick, change does not happen without dialogue. If you do not talk to somebody, you will not change anything. And being that we're trying to be non-violent, without violence, that's the only alternative. You're not going to get anything done unless you have dialogue.
Yes.
Seems like everybody agrees. Let's move on.
Okay. Temperature check on moving on. That looks like a consensus to me.
Okay, quick temperature check. Email going to Scott Ridgell's people should include the group would like you to come here and talk to them.
Or not supporting you. Well, it's not a support issue, it's just a conversation. Dialogue.
Okay, that brings us to our next agenda point this evening. I have drafted a rough draft mission statement. That rough draft mission statement is now on the Occupy Norfolk website. Everyone here is welcome and highly encouraged to read it, make your edits to it, and post it in the comments section. We're going to take all those concerns, things that you feel like are overemphasized or should be left out or should be added, and we're going to try to compile them, put a new rough draft on, and we'll bring it to the General Assembly for consensus. Quick temperature check. Does everybody feel like we need to have a mission statement? Now that mission statement comment section can be anything from a suggestion, your edit of it, or a completely original mission statement written by you. We will do the best that we can to hear all of those voices, and we absolutely will get a consensus before a mission statement is presented that represents the group. Quick temperature check on that? Feel good about it? Okay, loving it, loving it. That was easy. That was much easier than I thought it was going to be.
If we ask for a temperature check, unless you are physically incapable, because if you're here, we want to hear what you got to say. We want to know what you're about. Okay, and we have a point though. Is this on topic with this? Okay.
Is the forums the only way to submit a revision, because we might not all have internet access?
It's not actually on the forums. It's actually on its own link on the front page of the website. I have it on this machine also if you would like to. If anybody needs to look at it tonight because you're not going to be able to get on the internet in the near future, I can show it to you on the lovely Elizabeth Crutchfield's laptop, which is currently being used to take the minutes for this very meeting.
Or submit your on paper.
Sure, or submit something on paper. That would be fine. Also, if we can, I was also trying to encourage Anita to put links to other Occupy's mission statements so that you can kind of compare and contrast. It might bring ideas to your mind of things that I haven't looked at. Mine was highly influenced by Occupy Louisville, Kentucky's mission statement. A point on that, Anita?
I just wanted to say that I'm going to print some copies off of the statement tomorrow for people who will not have internet access at all, and they'll be in the camp towards the middle near the mega tent.
On that note, I've also drafted a much more simplistic draft, which is a letter for donations. It's kind of like the mission statement, but even simpler and even less. And that's basically the kind of statement you would give to a person or a business or organization that wanted to give you donations, but they needed some paperwork so that they could write something off on their taxes or something like that. So, and we're also going to get Anita to put that on the website if it's not already there, which is part of the reason that we were late starting the GA today, just so you know.
Point of information.
Point of information on subject, sir.
This is Dave.
They ain't gonna write it off on their taxes. We aren't a tax-exempt organization.
Yep.
That's Dave. He doesn't give legal advice, just legal information.
Yeah, I think it's important for everybody to know.
If it's important for everybody to know.
Well, just point of information. The mission statement's already undergone several revisions. It started with one person, it went to another, and even the original mission statement was drawn heavily from documents produced by politicians like Cynthia McKinney, Ron Paul, Ralph Nader, Chuck Baldwin. So just so you know, there's been many stages to the process, and there need to be many more and many input from everybody here. So just an idea what we've been doing with that.
Yeah, I feel like you have a pretty good rough draft mission statement, James, and if you would post that in the comments as well, then maybe we can hybrid them, make sure all the bases are covered. So yeah, all your mission statements ideas, get it on there. Everybody good to move on that? Okay, loving it. Thank you for your participation. And next we're going to have an announcement from Devin on the contentious topic of Facebook and trolling. Devin, come on up here.
Alright, I'd like to welcome everyone out here. Appreciate you guys coming out. We've been having an issue kind of recently on the Facebook group. For those of you that are involved in it, am I not loud enough? I'm going to shout into the microphone. Alright, so for those of you that have been involved in the Facebook group, you've seen some issues with people on there that are trying to incite us pretty negatively. For example, first I'd like to start off with just the word troll. Like, the definition of a troll is someone who appears to be contributing to a discussion at first, however it is only to incite individuals to argue between each other. These people contribute nothing to our group and only serve to sow the seeds of discord into our land, our group, our organization, and to make us divided between each other. For example, recently we had an issue with an individual named Richard Brins. He lives 4 hours away, had no intentions of joining our cause, but he made us look like fools on our own group. He questioned whether or not he would be able to bring a weapon onto site. I mean, he himself and even asked us if us as a free speech kind of aligned organization, if he would be allowed to exercise his Second Amendment rights here. When we explained to him that that's not allowed and that he would be asked to remove the group, he spinned it into saying that we would threaten him with violence if he showed up to the campsite with a gun. Alright, let me catch up here. Now, how and why did he do that? It's because we fed him fuel for his trolling campaign. We continually created conversations with this individual, and he just took all that information and pretty much made us look like fools. But what ended up happening is he took the information and posted it on a large number of social media sites, and I had to chase him down and shoot him down every time. It's not very fun. So this kind of brings us to the question of what do we do to handle this? Well, the answer is easy. We ignore them. And really the question that you have to ask yourself is, what would you rather have people who are completely new to the group, when they go to our Facebook page, what would you rather them see? A group of people working together and collaborating on a group of rules and how we work with each other? Or would you rather them see a bunch of people arguing with each other? Okay. Now, most of you learned about this local movement by actually coming to the group. For myself, when they come there, I would rather them see us as open arms and trying to understand more about the movement instead of just all of us trying to bicker about the semantics of the little things in life when we're missing the big picture, our main goal, as an organization. I mean, how would you feel if you came to the page and just saw people arguing constantly? Alright, so in order to resolve the issue, I would like to present 3 points. The first one would be that we need to completely ignore these people. They're super easy to spot out when they come to the group because they show up out of nowhere. They ask a question that you feel compelled to answer when really it's just a trap. And then 3 or 4 other people join in, and all of a sudden it turns into this one circle of all of us arguing. And really when the media comes to the page, if a media comes to our Facebook page to try and write an article on us, they're going to see us arguing. That's not how we want to present ourselves. Let's see. Alright, now, For those of you who have gone to the website, you'll see that there's a discussion forum at the top. We need to move all of our, I hate to put it this way, but we need to move all of our discussions and debate to that instead of on the Facebook group. The Facebook group should serve for information about us, what we currently need, and what we're currently doing. All of your discussions about, who should you vote for, what does X thing mean, that stuff, move it to the discussion forum. It's there for a reason. You can voice your own opinions, and nobody's going to do anything about it. Let's see. All right. And the third thing, which I know is going to be rather unpopular, however, the thing is, but no one's really given me a better solution, so I'd like to bring it up. This isn't a vote for it, but it's something for you guys to think about. We've done it once before. People asked us to undo it, but I'd like for us to lock down the Facebook group. Make it so that only administrators can post to the site. You can still continue to comment because there's no way to disable that. There's nothing we can do about it. But the thing is that administrators and the information needs to be posted there so they can see everything on there instead of people arguing with each other. All right. And I'd like to kind of, we've seen the effects of it. We've been completely divided on so many things, and our primary face to the public is now just a cesspool of people arguing between each other. And I'm done with that, so points of interest.
God, I gotta remember to do that. One of the things I would like to bring up for a point of consideration is that the Facebook group right now is the only way that people in Chesapeake or Virginia Beach or Hampton Roads or maybe by the border of North Carolina or whatever can really interact with you guys. It may not be a situation where they either feel comfortable well, not the only way, but it may be a situation where they don't feel comfortable coming out here yet. They kind of want to gauge the temperature of who we are before they wade in too deeply. If we lock it down entirely, we've now cut off an avenue that we have to speak with other people. In terms of how to handle trolls, obviously if you see it's a troll and you kind of know on some level it's a troll, just self-discipline, don't engage. If you do engage, just try to keep it to the party line. And I'm not saying the party line like we have a propaganda list, but like the Second Amendment thing, you could just say, we are a nonviolent group, we do not advocate any violence. Well, what if I blah, 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 blah. We are a nonviolent group, we do not advocate any violence. And just repeat that over and over again until they shut up and go away. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Richard.
As I had for a background for many years on my YouTube channel, which is quoted from an ancient, I believe, Eastern Indian saying, the only way to win is deny it battle. End of story. As far as what I do for the trolls, I've got a few thousand views in the videos from here from last weekend. The 2 negative comments, I pretty much replied, thanks for your input. Continue, hop in your gas-guzzling SUV and carry your butt to Walmart to spend more money on petrochemical items. Have a good day. And that pretty much ends it. Don't argue with them. Don't feed into it. And as far as the bickering that's gone on the Facebook page, personally, I find it disheartening, and that's a bad image to the community and the outside. That has to end. That has to end like days ago. Peace out.
Thanks, Richard.
James.
Facebook page from the very single moment it was created up until 10 minutes ago. The Facebook page could serve some great purposes. Even right now, even people who have positive intentions are posting things. It might be a really specific article about how campaign funds were used for this particular politician. And even those good intentioned things should really be reserved for the blog on the domain name. What we need on the Facebook group is things that immediately connect people who come there. That is our greatest marketing tool to date. Like, not even by a factor of 5 or 10, like a factor of 30. It would be great to post march times, meeting dates, things we need. So it's not an attempt to restrict free speech. You can do that forever and a day, unlimited text on the domain name. It's just an attempt to, and again, we've been getting awful review. I had a handful of people come up to me today and said the Facebook page was just discouraging and they almost didn't come out, and it's hurting us bad, guys. It really is. So just think about that.
Thank you, James. Please say your name loudly.
My name is Josh, and hi Josh. Yeah, I agree with what you had to say about the trolling, because I almost I felt like I almost didn't come out here.
We had none, and we were about to go on a march. That's the important stuff, and that's we have to be able to depend on one another to keep that kind of post at the top of the page and let the arguments go, please.
Elizabeth.
Something to keep in mind, not even on if you're not arguing, but if somebody posts a picture and everybody likes it and everybody comments on it, that is going to push the announcements down too. Because people see announcements and they're like, oh, I should bring water. They don't usually post, oh, I should bring water in the comment section. So that's one argument I have for locking the Facebook down. Because even if it's not argument oriented, some other like articles or pictures or something are still pushed to the top.
Alright, can I get a quick temperature check on everybody? Should we move on? Seriously, Facebook for an hour and a half? No? I think that's a consensus. We're gonna get James in here, one last thing.
I sound like a broken record, but this is actually something I put out to the group before too. Everybody here can be an unofficial administrator. All you have to do, when you see a troll, when you see somebody who's like, oh man, I want to bring my rifle to the site this week, just post positive things like, hey, I went down to the site this week, everybody's friendly and great, give them a chance. Like, all you have to do is be a reasonable, decent human being, post good information, don't feed anybody back. Say, hey, you know what, man, obviously you had a bad experience, we love you, come out to the site. Just, everybody around here can do that.
And moving on.
Alright, I just kind of wanted to make a closing statement. As kind of we are not using those discussion forums enough, how many people here actually have accounts on there? Like, how many actually go to that? By a show of hands. Alright, well, I guess your mission for tonight is to go home and make an account and start using that instead. From my point of view, not from the entire group. Start using that to do your discussions, keep the important stuff on the Facebook page.
Thank you very much. It's a fantastic website, it really is.
Okay, moving on. One real quick.
For those of you who don't know, Devin is the guy who made the website, so that's where all that was coming from, the creator of the website.
And a beautiful website it is. Okay, our next agenda point is on the topic of the Internet Wireless Hotspot. It's been brought to my attention that we received a kind of quick in and out donation today. I feel like Tim knows all about that, so why don't you do the preliminary information and then I'll bring us to the hotspot.
I got a call yesterday in the middle of the day. Out of nowhere was this woman from New York, Wall Street. She says, I heard James said you needed a thing for your live stream. And I said, yeah, you're right. She said, well, we're leaving tonight. Where are you going? We're on the way. They drove down here. They got stuck in traffic for 3 hours on the way down here. It took them 11 hours to drive down here, and they hand-delivered this to me. I'm literally still in my blanket from waking up. And when they hop in my tent, she whips it out, she gets on the phone with somebody, she gives me all the information, she says, it's time. It's time to get your live stream going. And, it was really, really amazing. And they just left right afterwards. They just were gone. So, her name is... Hold on. Sorry. Her name is Noya. She's a fantastic, fantastic girl.
Okay. Okay. Now, I believe that the missing component is the internet connection.
That's it.
So what we need is an internet hotspot to give us wireless internet so that we can get our 24/7 live stream up and running. I do not currently have a price on that, but I wanted to go ahead and open up. Is anybody able to just pick that up in the next 24 hours? Hotspot, wireless, point of information.
Alright, so head of the technology group, I'd kind of like to give some additional information about that. Most of the time that can only be done on a smartphone, and most of the time it is actually end up being slow. I know that someone from a local group here had come around and was talking about using a directional antenna to use someone's Wi-Fi that already let us actually go over there and use it. So we're kind of working on that. But for right now, we need to get by with using hotspots on smartphones. My phone has it. Anytime anyone needs to use a laptop, they can just come ask me. I'll turn it on for you for however long you need. I got unlimited, don't care. He needs it as well. So if you need it, Anita as well has that as well. I don't know if she's volunteering. Sorry to call you out, but yeah. But when it comes to the hotspot thing, by the way, it's not just something we can drop in. Like, we can't just bring a router here and drop it in. We need to have, like, a landline somewhere that we can plug it into is the problem. So it's not something we can just bring out here.
The one that she was talking about, actually, we can.
Oh, we can do that, actually.
Like a little card you buy at Best Buy.
Oh, yeah, all right. Right, so essentially what that is it's like a card that comes from Sprint or Verizon or something like that that you essentially bring in and it hooks up to their network and broadcasts the Wi-Fi signal. They're $60 a month, just the only thing is that you have to add it to your contract. If you want to do that, and feel comfortable with that, come see me. I'll be around here all tonight. There is a... What?
I would just like one more point of information. You can also get paid, pay per ones, pay as you go type things. Rob?
The other thing to add in this too, because I'm consulting Devin on half of this. The thing to keep in mind with these Wi-Fi cards is they do have a cap on them. When we hit that cap for most providers, they will cut it off. So if we end up going that route and everybody wants to have access to Wi-Fi here, you need to keep in mind what you're downloading, what you're using, because you may very well cut our stream when we run out of data.
Moving on? Yep.
All right. Okay, so it seems pretty clear that we need to put our tech heads together. Well, if there's an expenditure involved, we will of course bring it to General Assembly and we'll vote on it. Moving on.